An important use of percentages is that they help us better understand how things increase or decrease relative to some given baseline. Let's see how they do this with a couple of simple examples. For starters, imagine that your company was having financial difficulties, so you took a 10% cut in your salary. But suppose that a year later, things are looking a little bit better and you receive a 10% raise. Was your original salary the same as your salary after the pay raise? Well, suppose that your original salary was S. Now, after a 10% pay cut, what would your new salary be? Well, your new salary would be 90% of your original salary, S. And so we'll denote that this way. Now, after you took a pay cut, a year later, you receive a pay raise, 10%. Now, what's your new salary? Well, now your salary will be 10% more than what it was before. In other words, your new salary will be 110% of your previous salary, or 110% of 90% of S, which works out to be 99%, if you multiply these two numbers, of S. That is, the answer is no. Your latest salary is not your original salary. It's only 99% of your original salary. With a simple example under our belt, let's investigate a slightly more complicated use of percentages. To this end, we'll turn our attention to an important part of being a smart shopper, understanding how markups, profit margins, and markdowns, sales, affect the price of consumer goods. A toy store buys a certain toy from the distributor to sell during the Christmas season. The store marks up the price of the toy by 80%, the intended profit margin. Unfortunately for the toy store, the toy is a bust and doesn't sell well. So, after Christmas, it goes on sale for 40% off the marked price. After a while, an additional 25% markdown is taken off the sale price, and the toy is put on the clearance table. With all the markups and markdowns, what is the percentage profit or loss to the toy store? Now, you may think you need to know the cost of the toy, but as we'll see, the answer to this question is independent of the original cost of the toy to the store. Let's call this original cost of the toy C. So we'll write that right here. Now, after 80% markup to their cost, which is C, the toy store will retail the toy for a price of 1.8 times C. So, the original selling price is 80% more than C, or 1.8 of C, 80% more than 1C. After Christmas, the toy is marked down. It's put on sale, and it has a 40% off tag. So, the marked down price can be calculated. We want to take 40% off of this price. Well, the sale price, after the markdown, will be 60% of the selling price, the original selling price, which is 1.8 times C. If we take 0.6 and multiply by 1.8, we get 1.08 C. In other words, there's a net markup after the sale. And that markup is 8% of the original cost. How do you see that? The markdown price is a little bit more, 8% more than 1C. Now, clearance. The clearance price is 75% of the markdown price. So let's go ahead and compute the clearance price. It will be 75% after a 25% markdown of the markdown price, 1.08 times C. This turns out to be 0.81 times C. So after the clearance has taken place, the cost of the toy, or the price of the toy, is 81% of the original cost of the toy. This represents a net loss of 19%. This number, 0.81C, is 19% less than C. Now, in financial mathematics, percentages are a standard way to describe profits and losses. Without knowledge of percentages and how they work, we couldn't be the savvy consumer that we'd like to be.